How do I mute? Welcome to today's health Q&A. It is number 60, and we may be missing Sara today. Her aunt had a stroke and they had to go to the hospital, so let's pray for her well-being. And we have Katie with us. Katie has quite a story about seizures, and we have Grant with us. I never know what kind of stories Grant has, but we'll just wait because it's always good. My name is Toni Weel, and I'm calling in from sunny but cold Florida. My gosh, I have the heat on and I'm wearing a sweater. How crazy is that? You know what I mean? For weeks at a time, I had the windows open, enjoying the breeze, the warmth, the birds. And now we're like, oh my God, it's too cold to go out. And it's not even snowing here. It's not that cold. I mean, it was in the 60s. But heck, that's cold for me. I'm not used to it anymore. So welcome everyone. If you want to join the call, on the Zoom and be live with us and ask your questions, you at the top of the chat is the Zoom link, and as soon as I see you popping in, I'll get you into the call, and we go from there. Just before the chat, we were talking about Katie's dog, Rusty, who had seizures. He is 18 years old. That's quite an age for a dog. I mean, I never had a dog that even lived beyond 15 years. It was a large dog. And 18 years is amazing. So you definitely did something right, Katie. With its food, but it's so sad to hear of the seizures. And Katie has a lot of experiences that I'm sure she wished she didn't have with seizures because of her son having seizures. So it's to deal with that, and especially when you realize there is a connections with vaccinations, and you wish you would never have done it. It's like it's that can be quite a burden, and it's a good thing that now we know what to do. But getting to the point is to that point to, well, we know how important it is. Dr. Morse says it all the time. It's fruit, berries, and melons. But getting to that point, I think it's pretty much the most difficult thing in anyone's life. It's not easy for me, and I know a lot of it, and I'm doing it, but sticking with it for a long period of time, it's not that easy. So how are you dealing with that, Katie?
Okay, well, let's see. I actually am pretty good at sticking on the fruit diet, but you guys, this has been a process. And, a couple of weeks ago, Toni introduced us to someone, and I can't think of who it was, but even that person said that it's a journey, and it took her, I think, 8 years to get to where she is, where she really feels like she's really into it and doesn't have any step backs. And that's the same for me too. It was, let's see, I think it was in June that God had told me, when we're all waking up and coming to see what is going on in the world. I think it was in June that God said, he showed me the garden, and he kind of just said, Katie, I put you in the garden, and this is where you're supposed to eat. And then he reminded me of thou shalt not kill. And, I always think of thou shalt not kill literally, because that's what the church taught us. And just thought that, that just meant like, don't kill people, or, be kind and things like that. But I never thought about animals and how that also means be kind to animals and don't kill them. And my family, okay, so living in South Dakota, my family are hunters. We hunt deer and we hunt pheasants. I don't, but I support it by going to those hunts and walking the field. And then my husband is obviously a hunter. He hunts with a gun and a bow. And then we raised our daughter to do that. And we raised our son to do that. And then anyway, so that is that. Oh, and then another thing you should know is that my dad had a restaurant here in South Dakota. And that restaurant was focused on meat. And so I remember in junior high, I was sitting at the table and I can't remember what was served, but some sort of meat. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to eat that. And I did that for like 3 days, I think it was, that I was like, I'm not eating. And I really was not eating. I did not eat that food. It was kind of like I did a fast. And then on the third day at the dinner table, when I was refusing to eat what my mom had prepared, my dad had it. And he kind of said to me, if you don't eat your meat, you're out of the will. And I know fully he did not mean that literally. He just was frustrated and it just came out. But I believed him. And so I ate that. So knowing that, you can see that eating meat is a big deal in my family. And for me to stand up for now, it'll be 2 years in June, saying, nope, I'm not going to have anything to do with that. And even saying, you know what, I'm supposed to inherit this farm, this hunting farm. I've even asked to have my name removed from it because I don't want to have anything to do that has to do with the harming of animals. So when God showed me that, I jumped in right away and I did not look back. I was like, all fruit, I'm doing it. And it was like immediate. But now for my family, that is not the case at all. And by the way, when I say I went all in, I really did go all in. But I'm going to tell you, have I made mistakes? Absolutely. Do I fall? Absolutely. But now I've really, and I've shared this before, I personally have gotten down to where there were only 5 things that I might cheat on, and they're the worst things for you. But I'll tell you some of them. One of them would be popcorn. The other one would be chips and salsa. And another one would be milk duds because I like milk duds with my popcorn. And then let's see. Oh, cookies used to be in there, but now cookies are no longer. And some like I call them dessert breads, like banana bread. But those 2 are no longer because those take eggs to make those. So now I'm really just down to the chips and salsa, the milk duds, and the popcorn. Well, after the salt episode that Toni did, I am no longer eating chips. So now it's just down to the popcorn and the milk duds. Well, I'm not going to, I used to go to a movie once a week and I felt like I needed to have those. But now I go to a movie and I just bring in some dried fruit or something like that. So the popcorn, the milk duds have been eliminated completely. The popcorn, if I go with my husband and he wants popcorn, then my hand finds its way to the popcorn box. But that's probably, I don't know, maybe once a month or twice a month. It's not that often. So I'm doing pretty good, but it has been a progress. But with my family, that has been something. So Toni shared that my son has seizures, and I've shared that story too about my son having seizures. And at first, I learned about the keto diet and how that can temporarily help seizures. At the time, I didn't know it was temporary, but so I put my son on a keto diet. I encouraged him to do that. And then when God, oh no, it was before then. First, I put him on the keto diet, and then we weren't seeing any improvement. And I remembered this homeopathy doctor down in Arizona that I had seen in the past. And so then I took Ryan, my son, to go see Dr. Ketover is his name. He's no longer in practice, so you can't look him up. I'm sorry. He just retired in October. But anyway, so we went to Arizona to go see Dr. Ketover, and he had a special diet as well for Ryan. So now I've switched Ryan from a regular diet to a keto diet. So that's one switch. And now we're switching him to a Dr. Ketover diet. And the Dr. Ketover diet made a lot of sense to me because it had kind of what you would call whole foods, whole raw foods. But on that diet, it also had meats. And the thing about that diet, it was called a 4-day rotation diet. So you had these foods that you could eat on day 1. And you only ate the foods off of that list on day 1. And then there was day 2. You only ate those foods. And then day 3 and day 4. And none of those foods were repeated. If you ate it on day 1, you won't see it anywhere on day 2, day 3, day 4. Okay. So then you do that and you keep rotating it. And he explained to us, like, why do you do it that way? Well, because your body needs to, it's like, think about your garbage can. If you don't empty your garbage can overflows. Well, it's the same thing. If you eat the same food over and over again, your body just like stores it in there, and then it'll just overflow. And then you'll have way too many, Dorito bags or something in your body's garbage. So if you eat it on day 1 and then you wait 3 days to eat it again, that gives your body a chance to process that food from day 1, So, okay, I got it. And the thing is that it worked for me when I was sick and I saw him. It worked for me. But then I switched Ryan to that. So now that's the second diet. But then in June, when God showed me the garden and not to kill, and then at that time I was talking to JV, whose real name is Juan, and a lot of us have gotten to know him. He was the one that said, Katie, you need, and this is after God showed me this. He goes, but you need to get your family to watch Earthlings. And I was like, okay. And I watched that and I was like, oh my gosh, wow. I had to pause it while I watched it. I had to cover my eyes while I watched it. I just was crying so much. And I thought, there's no way I can watch this with my family, but we have to do this because this is that important. And so then I showed them that movie. And then I told them, you just need to stop. And then Elizabeth, she is out of the house. So she kind of does her own thing. But in my house, there is no animal products. I will not allow it in the house. So then Ryan went to an all fruit diet. And you guys, he was so good. He's such a good son. And he did it for 2 weeks. But here's what I told Toni. I went all in and it was easy for my body to adjust. But when you're talking about a teenage boy and you're asking him to go all in and he loves you and he does it and he did it faithfully for 2 weeks, his little body was not ready for that, you guys. He was miserable. It was awful. And it's too bad that I didn't know what I know now, because now, because he was so miserable, he has a negative experience with eating all raw. And he's having a hard time. So after those, just so you know, after those 2 weeks, he's kind of gone back to, not really a regular diet. He has like wild rice, brown rice, beans, some black beans. He'll have some cooked food, like Matt will make like a vegan chili. He'll have some steamed vegetables or even like roasted vegetables and things like that. So it is better. It's not the best, but it's better. But anyways, because I'm sure this happens at your house, sometimes you get in a little argument about food. And that's when my son will say, Mom, are you sure fruit is the way to go? Because, you've already had me change my diet 3 times. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to make me change it again when you find a new diet? So those kind of comments, they kind of hurt, but they're the truth. Will something better come along? Nope. This is the one, Ryan. This is the one. But it's hard to convince him that, because like I said, I had him switch to 3 different diets. And then he's like, but Mom, when I was on all fruit, I felt miserable. And then that's when I say, well, you know what? Because I made you go all in, and I didn't let you slowly transition to an all fruit diet. So now that's kind of where we are, we're trying to transition him, and I keep encouraging him to eat the fruit. I keep showing him, the progress that I'm making, being the light here. Same for my husband. But now, we've talked about free will. He's 18 years old now. This is his choice. And I will always be here for him, sharing the truth, encouraging him, and doing the best that I can. But now it's up to him, and whatever happens. So, but I just hope he makes better choices. And so, yeah, that's kind of my little journey with my son and the food. So
yeah, it is not easy to find a balance, especially not when they're that young. That is why I feel that it is so important that they absolutely understand why they are doing what they're doing, why it is the fruit. But it's not necessarily about the fruit that makes the changes. It is about the food that is not being eaten anymore. And what are beans doing in your body? What are the proteins that are in beans actually doing in the body? And that goes for meat, the dairy, and the eggs, but it's also the beans and the rice. Wild rice is not as bad. We know what cooked food can do, but I think once they know what food is doing in their body and what actually is causing it, then they can make better choices. And that is what we need to do. That is my whole idea for the Garden of Eden too, is teach, what does the food, well, it's actually what we're doing here too. What is the food doing in your body? How does it respond? How can you actually heal? And it's never the fruit that heals, it's the body that heals once you leave certain foods out. I mean, for myself, I can see it every day. I talked often about my struggles with sticking to all fruit. It doesn't have to be all fruit. I mean, last week I made a raw dish with it was actually like a cold soup. I had asparagus and tomatoes and zucchinis, and I had the green onion. What else did I put in there? I think I added some water, and I just put it all in a blender. And yeah, of all things, I have the green salt. And I do want to mention that, because we are like, yeah, we should eat stuff that we don't need the salt at all. But the green salt is made from an seaweed. And it's actually, it tastes like other salt. But if you take too much of the green salt, that, of course, that can happen, that you feel like, well, I could have done with less. You don't get the same responses as what you have when we all did it. We have too much salt in something and we can throw away the dish because it's absolutely not edible. You will not have that with green salt. So you do get a little of the salty taste. So that is what I added. And if you are interested in buying the green salt, you have to look at the ones that actually says green salt and doesn't have. I've actually saw green salt on Amazon that had Himalayan salt in it too. So that is, you don't do yourself a service when you would get that. So it has to be only the green salt from seaweed, dried seaweed. So it's actually pretty good. But anyway, besides fruit, you can add the soft leafy greens. I actually had some spinach in it. Oh, I think I had some lettuce in it too, and the Italian herbs. And that is just a mix of a variety of kitchen herbs, and put it all in a blender and have a pretty nice, nice green cold soup. Well, actually, it was more at room temperature. So you can eat that too. So it doesn't have to be all fruit. Oh, I forgot one thing. I actually had mushrooms in it. That worked too. But that was only because I had them in the fridge and they needed to go anyway. So it is like experimenting and not having the feeling, oh, now I can only eat fruit, because that is not the case. And for transitioning, it is sure, just start the day with fruit. That's always a big start. Make a delicious and for lunch or in between, make a delicious smoothie. And I think anybody goes for that. And does your son like smoothies, Katie?
Oh yes, he does. He used to have like a strawberry banana smoothie every single day. That would be his breakfast. He loves those. But now he's into orange juice and strawberries. So that's now what he likes to have. But yeah.
Yeah, as long as you start the day with that, and it's going to be grape season again, and so much fruit is out there, mangoes. Just have them. And it's a great idea what you mentioned, when you go to the movies, is having those dried fruits with you, and of course enough water to get them down. But my favorite dried fruit was always mango. I got these. I've tried a variety of them, but the best ones always came from nuts.com. The price is reasonable, and they have organic ones, and they are absolutely delicious. And if you have a dehydrator, I mean, mango season is right around the corner, and you already can get pretty good mangoes, then you can dry them yourself. It's easy to do, and yeah, it definitely costs a lot less. And another option is the freeze-dried fruit, but I find that kind of pricey, so I don't get that very often.
Well, I just recently found at Target, they have the brand is Naked, and they have some dried fruits, different kinds, and they're dried so much that they're like crispy. So those have been fun to serve as like chips because they're so crispy. But of course, they're kind of expensive. I think that they were on sale here in South Dakota for about $4. So yeah.
Guys, I have an emergency with my cats here, so please, Katie.
Oh, I think we lost Toni. Anyway, well, on the call, I think we have Grant. Grant, do you want to share anything today?
Oh, just you had mentioned earlier, your daddy told you if you don't eat the meat, you can't get the inheritance. They remind me of Pink Floyd's song. If you don't eat the meat, you can't get any pudding. That's that. Yeah, it's that same thing. But yeah, Katie, what you doing for your family and your son and that is perfect. It's perfect. Not everybody jumps in, both feet, because I kind of did what you did. And now I'm kind of having to kind of balance it out, because it's like I often said, it's too much. When you lose that much weight and stuff, it's like, so I think best approach is not jumping full unless you able to do that. But most people are not, especially somebody from there. So what you're doing is perfect. Just you don't have to be so hard on yourself, is what I'm saying, Katie. You're doing perfect. You're doing perfect. You showing them a new idea, and that's all you can do. I'm so happy for you that you actually getting your family to try new things, because I've tried that and it's not working over here. You know what I'm saying? Just the littlest thing. Just give up one thing, and it doesn't happen. So you're doing perfect. Is with all of your kids, really, you know, and talking about the vaccines and all of that. Yeah, that we was talking about that. We didn't know if I always knew something was wrong with it, but I didn't realize what was actually in it. So, you know, now I know. And, you know, my kids are stuck with that, especially what they get nowadays. When we was younger, we didn't get that many. We had like I don't know, less than half, maybe a third of the shots. And I think that was in '86. I think they changed the rules. So something like that. So yeah, you're doing good, Katie. Keep going. Just like you said, keep shining the light, keep showing what your progress is. And that's what I'm doing too. I'm showing how I can sustain this. This is 2 years over now, and I'm still sustaining it. But you know, when you go that hardcore, you have to kind of adjust on what the foods, you know, because I can totally understand your son. All fruit like that, yeah, you're gonna feel a little weak because you're not used to that. The body, you know, those kind of parasites, all the addictions, all of those things happen. You know, they come into play because it's no longer you when you start changing that food. Is the body starts talking. You know, all of these things that are involved with the body, they start talking to you because you denying them. You start denying them what they love, the chips and the salsas and the popcorns and stuff. I could tell you was instantly a movie girl when you mentioned the bad habits. Talking about popcorn, yeah, that definitely is a movie thing. And come, you think about it, who got us on that? You know, who got us on all of these things? It's just entertainment usually. Most of it comes from entertainment. And then they addict you to something else, you know, this thing and that thing and all the candies and popcorns and the drinks and all of that. And man, I'm like, damn, talk about trying to kill us. 100% was crap. All of it was crap. There wasn't one good thing that they tried to feed us at the movie theater. And I'll rest my case on that one, Katie. You're doing good.
Yeah, it's actually interesting that popcorn, you have popcorn with salt, you have popcorn with sugar, and you have popcorn with butter. And it smells so good.
Yes. You know, that brings up like, I love what Grant just shared. I even wrote that right on, Grant, because you're absolutely right. These are just habits, and it's our body that we need to pay attention. But you know, speaking of habits, so the habits that I have right now, like with the popcorn and the milk duds and the chips and salsa, those were, you know, habits. And then I made the choice to like, nope, I'm not going to have that habit. And I don't know about you guys or anybody who might be in the chat or listening, but the habits, the emotional habits that I have connected to food, that has been a tough one. And so just so you all know, I know Toni mentioned it. I have an 18-year-old dog who had his second seizure on Monday, and he's 18. And with an 18-year-old dog, I could put him in anti-seizure medication, but the thing that I know about anti-seizure medication is, number one, you have to find the right brand that works. And then once you find the right brand, then you also have to find the right dose. And with my experience with my son and going through that process, it took a long time to find those. And during that time, my son sometimes was so sick. He was worse off than having a seizure. And so I don't want to do that to my 18-year-old dog. Plus, he's terrible at taking medication. And in the past, I've had to like jam it down his throat, you know, kind of in the back pocket of his mouth. That's no fun. And I don't want to do that to him now. And so we've decided not to medicate him, but I'm struggling with how do I know when to put him down? And so, and I know everyone keeps telling me, Katie, you will know. And I trust that, but I want to know now. But anyways, the point of the story is this, that since Monday, I have been emotional, to say the least. And then, of course, the moon is in my sun sign these last 2 days. And so that's kind of adding to it as well. And so I feel like I've been a little squirrel, just eating and eating and eating. And so that is something that I would really like help with, is how do I break my emotional habits with the food during these times? And so if anybody has suggestions, I bet you're in the same shoe or boat as I am. And let's help each other out with this one.
Oh my gosh, Katie, didn't I mention last week Ellen Carr's book, The Easy Way to Quit Emotional Eating? I just started reading it yesterday. I was like, I want to talk about it today, but then I got sidetracked again working on the new website. And I'm like, I have to get through this book because we all have that emotional eating. And last week, when something rather unpleasant happened, this was the first time that I did not give in to other food. It was like, okay, now it's just fruit. It's just fruit. And other than the asparagus soup that I mentioned before, it has been just fruit, and I feel amazing. But I think I feel amazing not only because of what it does to the body, but that this time I did not give in. And it's tempting. I have to tell you, the chips are tempting. And we can get healthy chips, and we get chips without salt, but still it is fried in an oil, and it may be avocado oil. We think, oh, it's healthier. It doesn't make a difference. I know my body doesn't want it. It's like I always pay the price. But for me, it's like finding that balance. And what Grant said, you are doing amazing already, because you're always looking for the answers, because since we started the show, I think you were always the one with the most questions. So, and having the questions is absolutely, it's great, because this is how you find out what you need to do. And we keep learning. We constantly keep learning. But again, that book, Katie and everyone else, Ellen Carr, it's ALLENCARR, Easy Way to Quit Emotional Eating. Set yourself free from binge eating and comfort eating. This guy wrote a whole series of books about addiction. It doesn't matter if it's smoking, alcohol, sex even. I didn't check that one, but could be any addiction. He wrote a book about how to deal with it. And it was somebody that I respect highly. He told me about his book series, and that is actually when I saw one about emotional eating, and I was like, yeah, I absolutely have to get that, because as hard as it actually to admit, yes, I do have an issue with emotional eating. So stressful times, not the happy times. It's always the stressful times that you want to go that route, when you feel insecure and you're unhappy. It's a tough thing. And I want to respond to what Dave Trellis said. You're describing the terrain diet, and I'm actually doing Laura Whiteman's group. Yeah, it is, but is it the terrain diet, or is it just our natural diet? I mean, Dr. Morse works with the terrain diet. The only difference is that Lauren says that herbs are toxic, and I cannot believe that really things that are grown, God's herbs. That's actually what Dr. Morse calls his first thing that he did with the herbs. It was God's herbs. And I have seen with herbs that when I needed them, they were growing. And when I didn't need them anymore, they were not there anymore. So there is a connection from humans to herbs. But the basics of Lauren's the terrain diet, that's what it is. That is what heals us, because we leave all the junk out. So yeah. Yeah, the quick emotional eating, to quit, yeah.
Yep. And so, yes,
It's not quick emotional, it's quit emotional
oh,
eating.
oh my gosh, my spelling. I'll fix that right now. Thanks, Toni.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, I still have to read it too. And we had a few weeks ago, we had a gentleman on the chat. Oh my gosh, Lucas. Yeah, I should not forget his name. He has his second book out, and I have it here. Yes, I have it here, and that is called Health Simplified, Book 1, Foundation of Health. And he feels like, well, when you read that book, you don't have any questions anymore because it's so simple. It's all in here. So his name is Lucas Laquintini. At least that is how I pronounce it. It may be something wrong. But, and I see that Brooke is joining us. So welcome, Brooke. Let's see if her sound is working. And sorry, I had to leave a few minutes ago because I had two cats fighting here and they were making such a ruckus and hair balls were flying around. I have just one cat who is a bully. It's pretty bad.
Toni, can you tell me again what that name of that book is? That it's snowing here, and Matt just started the Snow Plow, so I missed the name of it. You said Health Simplify.
Yeah, well, actually, he counted Foundation of Health, and it is on. I think it is on Amazon. And his name is Lucas, Luccas Laquintini, Laquintini. And I can't type it in, but the thing is, I cannot type and talk like Sara can, because she's amazing with that. I cannot do that. But I will type it in.
Oh, I got it.
Okay, you did.
Yep.
Yes, thank you, Monique. It's my birthday today. I'm a reverse 17. Whatever, 38.
Happy born day to you. Happy born day to you. Happy born day, dear Toni. Happy born day to you.
Oh, thank you. I heard somebody call it a Earth Day. I had never heard that before. So that was a happy Earth Day. I see Brooke, Brooke cannot get the sound working from what I can see here, because that little microphone icon is not showing up. So you may want to check that, Brooke. It doesn't even show you as being muted. And now Brooke is gone.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, it's like, yeah, Dave, it's like, of course, herbs were given us, but medically, it's that is how we use them. And I made the mistake, because I've talked about it often, that calling myself pretty much the queen of supplements, and a lot of herbs were part of it, at least half of it. It wasn't only vitamins and minerals, but it was a lot of herbs too. And it's like, oh yeah, you have arthritis, so you need turmeric. Well, yeah, but how long do you need the turmeric? And I was taking it years at a time. It didn't help. It didn't do anything. And none of the vitamins and minerals and herbs did it the way I was using them. And it is, I have done Dr. Morse's protocols, herbal formulas too. And it does, and I only do it for a few weeks at a time, and then I stop again. And I have to say that progress for me is only when I stick completely to fruit. That is where I see the progress. Do I see more progress with adding the herbs to it? Maybe a little. I see Sara coming in. Let me see, and Brooke again. So it is trying it out and see how it works, but definitely it is temporarily and not for the rest of your life. How many times have we been told by, the medical industry, yeah, well, you have to take this medication for the rest of your life. And I was always like, that's not going to happen.
Hey, Toni.
Yes.
I was just going to say, from what I gathered from many years of dealing with all of this stuff, herbs are just like anything else. They are medicinal. They're not meant to take every day for, because we all talk about garlic and clover and all of the different the Asians use them a lot, the gingers and the cumin and all of these things, and not only the Asian, but they're not intended to use every day. You use them, when you feeling something. That's what the herbs, I think, even in the Indians or the indigenous people, Aborigines, however you want to call them, they only use them when they needed them. But now every damn plate over here, especially in Cajun country, they got garlic, they got spices, they got peppers, they got all of these things. And it's not good in that sense, but they are good when used properly as a medicinal. The same as damn weed. If it's used as a medicinal purpose substance, it's okay. But when you get to the addictive, and that comes back into the addiction of everything, everybody's addicted to something. There's nobody on this plane that's not addicted to something, whether it's food, sex, or movies, or music, or whatever. Me, I happen to be addicted to music. Then that's my thing. But there's certain things that can get you to where not only you're addicted to the music, but you use that music that you're addicted to decode it, to start and see. That's the phase I'm going through right now. You start to see what that music actually was saying. You step back of all of them songs that we all love I've been compiling them for 51 years. And I knew they were special, but I didn't know why they were special. And now I'm getting to a point where you hear and you step back and you start decoding, and you get to that place where it's like, damn, no wonder I felt good about that song. Because we heard songs and it's like, you put up the cross on your two fingers, that kind of thing, It's like, yeah, no, that didn't feel good. But there was tons of music or movies or whatever that you just, when you left the theater or you listened to that song, you just had this kind of feeling that it was like, wow, I don't want this to end. Is that good?
Yeah, but now you're talking about an addiction that's actually good for you.
Well, that's what we need to turn our bad addictions into good addictions.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I want to use the word addiction in that aspect then.
Well, correct. Well, that's the word, that we kind of go with. And yes, it would not be an addiction. It would be a aha, or just a blissful living, where
Yeah.
it's like coming out of a Bruce Lee. movie when I was young. I was like 5, 6 years old going watch Bruce Lee, and we would come out and we was doing karate. We was trying to anyway. It's that kind of feeling, that blissful feeling.
Well, but
And
that is what we need to go to, Grant, anyway. That is all about health. And health is not just the food and the herbs. It's so many more things. And you point out one, I mean, music for me, it still is so important. And I always have a funny story about something, but when I was, I don't remember if that was the first time that I was in the US on a motorcycle tour. And I had not heard, we didn't have, all these things to bring the music. We're talking about 81, 82, 83, that era. To bring all the music with us, yeah, maybe a cassette, but on a motorcycle, I don't listen to music. And I hadn't heard music for a while. And all of a sudden I was at some motorcycle meeting. There were a lot of people. And there was a guy who actually had music playing on his motorcycles with speakers. And I don't, right, my God, I was thinking about which music, I don't remember it now. And I was so drawn to it, I was almost like running after that bike because I didn't want to miss out on the music. That is how much I missed hearing the music and how important it is and how it always, always makes me feel good. So if I had, bad days or bad feelings or not happy, well, yeah, it's all one thing. But then if you put music on and right away, your favorite music, of course, and right away you feel better. I mean, it is, but the music is in any sounds. It's not just in the songs. There can be music in the birds. I have wind chimes outside of my house, so when I have my windows open, I can hear them very well. And even those sounds can make you happy, or a bird that is singing to you. There is so much to it, and we start forgetting about it. We spend our days, and I'm guilty, at the computer, at the phone, and but yeah, often when I'm working on, and even did that when I was studying, when I was in my teens, I had music playing, and my mom thought it's crazy. You can't study with the music on, but it worked. It is, and I don't even know why music, it could be in the frequency, why music can make us so happy. And it is different for everyone. I mean, there are people that love classical music. As a teenager, I definitely did not. Now, being an adult, yes, I can see why. But we also know that all the frequencies in the music have been changed a long time ago. So there is actually music that makes us feel bad. It's not all the music that is good. So anyway, yeah, Grant, I do need you in the music section on the Garden of Eden. I'm going to leave that up to you. You can eat your heart out there. So welcome, Sara. I'm happy to have you here, and we have Brooke here. Let me see. I think, Brooke, your sound is working now. So did you have any questions? Do you want to have anything to share?
Yeah, I have a question about, I'm working on trying to get my kidneys to filter better. I actually was most of 2020, I was high raw, and then a year ago I did a 108-day juice fast, and I've been raw ever since. So March 23rd will be I've been 100% raw for the year, and I've been doing Dr. Morse's herbals for actually I started week 4, and I did kidney formula 1 and 2 for the first 2 weeks, and now I'm doing 3 and 4 for the 3rd and 4th weeks, but I'm just not seeing a lot of filtration. And I did a water fast in December. I did 20 days, and I'm planning on doing another week here starting on Sunday. I didn't know if that would really help get the kidneys filtering. I am not sure how to really get that going better than what I am. I'm seeing very, very little sediment.
Do you see improvements in your health?
Well, I mean, everything that I've done has improved because I had leaky gut. And so things are much better, but it's still not like I'm not able to exercise like I would like to. I used to really exercise hard, and I just feel like I'm able to do a fraction of what I was doing. Comparatively, I just get really like a lot of muscle soreness that's out of proportion to the amount of exercise that I do.
And you didn't see more filtering when you were doing the water fast?
Well, see, at that time when I did the 20 days, I wasn't checking the urine at that point. It's like I've only been checking it since I've been doing the herbals. Now, I think in the second week, I was getting filtration, and then it's like back to hardly anything. And I'm just not sure.
I know it is off and on. What you can try is in the morning, do some parsley juice. Do that for a week.
Okay, how much?
I would say maybe 6 ounces. I personally used 2 bunches, but it depends on how big the bunches are. And start slow. Start with maybe 4 ounce and then up it a little, but don't do it longer than a week. It's the same as when you do like the celery juice. It is only for a short time. I did it for 18 months, a year and a half, the celery juice, and it messed up my GI tract. So you just do it for a short time, and that should help you open the kidneys. You can also use, because I usually do the kidneys formulas for a total of like 4 months. And the first 2 months it's 1 and 2, and then you can in the second month add number 3 to it. And then the last 2 months you do like 3 and 4.
Okay, so 1 and 2, is 1 and 2 the most potent to really get that going?
No, it's Dr. Morse says there are so many great herbs for the kidneys that he just divided them up. And so yeah, you can do 1 and 3, and do you can do some dry brushing to get your lymph going a little. And see, I had kidney issues since I was in my teens. And that was already diagnosed through iridology when I was 21. It was back then German iridology, but nobody knew what to do about it. I mean, you tell a young woman that she has kidney issues, and I'm like, oh, okay. Nobody said, oh, you have to do this or you have to do that. Now, thank goodness for Dr. Morse, we do know what to do. And I think I've always been into herbs and into, and maybe not always the right herbs, but into healthy eating. And even all raw, my all raw included a lot of nuts and seeds and too much fat and too much proteins, even all raw. So that was not working for me. So it's always looking at, okay, is there any protein in your diet? Is there any fats in the diet? And I'm not saying you have to go long term, no proteins or no fats, absolutely not. But it's just for the time being when you are detoxing, and you don't detox, years at a time. You need to find a balance. It's detoxing, it's regeneration, and adding some stuff, and then see how you do on it. So it's finding the balance. I even heard Dr. Moore say, and that is for people, and I'm not saying it's like, oh, you have to eat meat, but he actually recently said, if you want to eat meat once in a while, that is okay. It won't hurt us in the physical aspect. I do not want to eat meat because I don't want to kill anything. I don't even want to kill a roach, I don't like having them in my house, and they have to go, including ants, but I'm for the no killing. So not only for the health reasons, but
well, I was just going to say, I was low fat since I came off of the juice fast, and then I'm not doing any fat. I am doing like leafy greens, as far as like I do like green leaf or red leaf lettuce. I'm not doing like any cruciferous or anything like that. Will that slow things down if I add that salad in there at the end of the day?
Your salad is fine as long as you don't add oils in it.
Yeah,
And
there's
thank
no oil.
Yeah, and I have, sorry to interrupt, but Monique says, and see, I forgot it again, so thank you, Monique. It is do castor oil packs on your kidneys. Have you tried that?
Yeah, I've done that too.
Oh, you've done that. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like I'm doing everything, and it's like I just feel like I should be getting more filtration
Yeah,
than
but
what I
you,
am.
I can say, it's so easy for me to say, yeah, it takes time because sometimes we do everything we can and we've done it for a month and 2 months and 3 months, and we don't really see the filtering that we would like to see or what other people have. But you said, you have some sediment, so you have some sediment. Okay, go with that. Some stuff is coming out. And worry less. Just it's a journey. Yeah, that's something we always say, it's a journey. Don't worry, let it go. You're doing everything that you can do, and now just live, be happy, live your life. It's not worried, not to worry. It is not that, oh, my kidneys are not filtering, now I can't move forward and I still have to do more and more and more and take it deeper. It will happen. And I know of people, and I'm one of them, it took 3 years. So it's, and I'm okay with that. I know I cannot go back because I pay the price right away. It's not even after a while. It's within a few hours after I eat something I shouldn't. But we know we can't go back. And so it's just moving forward and live your life.
Yeah, I
But
was.
you're doing absolutely great. It's like what Dave was already saying. You're doing awesome. I mean,
Oh, thank
but
you.
are you feeling happy with it? If it's stressing you out, then look at why the stress? Why the worries?
Well, it's just I've done all that, all that, and actually I feel pretty good with the herbs. In comparison to like when I water fasted, I felt really terrible during that time. And also when I was doing my juice fast, I watched Katie had talked about Earthlings, and I just wanted to jump in on that. That was oh my goodness, that just woke me up out of that. Was what cured me from ever eating meat again. It's like I will never touch it. I couldn't even watch it in one sitting. It took 2 evenings. I had to force myself to finish watching it, and it's I thought it was important to watch it though. Charlie had talked about that, and I wish it was a requirement for everybody to watch it, because I think it would change so much if people are even closed-minded to even view it. And yeah, it's just brutal when you watch that.
It's one of the movies I have not watched and I'm not going to watch because I know.
Yeah, well, and I couldn't watch Dominion. One of my son's friends, I had told him about the movies. He thought I was going to sit down and watch it with him. I can't put myself through that again. And then he watched 10 minutes of it, and he was crying. It's like he couldn't even watch it then. It's like, that's why I can't watch it with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yep. Let me know if you can hear me, because I am in the car still. But I've never watched it either, and I feel that I don't need to watch it because I know the word woke is something everybody's using nowadays, but I've been truly woke to that for a very long time, what the word woke really means. And I can't bring it myself to watch it because it crushes my heart. And I already know what those facilities look like. I know what the lab industry looks like because I've worked in it. And I know what happens to all those animals firsthand. And I definitely cannot relive it again. But, it is very important. Those shows are very important for helping people to wake up. And yeah, I do agree. I think it should be a requirement for everyone to watch, because so many people from where their food actually comes from. I mean, most people don't even know how some stuff even grows. If you start just asking people, like what grows on a tree or what grows on a bush or what comes from the ground. But Brooke, some of my questions I had for you was, have you been checking your blood pressure? And when you were on your juice fast, was that just like a pure juice fast, or were you also doing like juicing some greens too?
I did juice greens on the juice fast. I did what they call a lemon ginger blast. It had like parsley and cilantro, cucumber, celery, green apple, lemon, and ginger root. And so I would juice that. And then I did grapefruit juice for the first 3 weeks I did grapes. And then for the duration, then I did grapefruit along with the lemon ginger blast.
Okay. For me personally, I would maybe try to do some mono juice, like either orange juice, watermelon, that kind of stuff. And then, as Dr. Morse always says, your fruits, berries, and melons, and maybe to kind of stick to the grapes and melons and see if that helps as well. I was actually listening to some stuff on him last night. It so happens to be I was listening to a stroke show, and what happened to my aunt too. And he was talking about, like, if you're really trying to get in to do something, that you just really want to stick hard to the fruits. And because those are going to obviously bring our body, give our body enough to allow our body to do its own healing. So it's not necessarily the fruits that are doing the healing, but they're allowing the body to be able to heal for us. And have you been checking your blood pressure on both sides?
I haven't lately. My blood pressure runs a little bit low, which isn't that like with the adrenals, or am I thinking incorrectly?
Yeah, no, you're correct. So, Toni, correct me if I'm wrong though, because I'm just trying to remember from memory. Is the top number your adrenals and the bottom number is your kidneys?
Yes, that it's easy to remember because the adrenals are on top of the kidneys. So the top number is the adrenals, and you ideally you want to have it like 120/60. If it's much lower, because I spoke with someone, it's under 100, then you could use the top number was under 100. You could use licorice. And just plain licorice, nothing added. You can get it as a tea, you can get it as a tincture, you can get it with and without alcohol. And it's on Dr. Morse's website now too. I have a direct link now that is an affiliate link where you can get a discount, and Dr. Morse pays me a commission. And I put that link on drmorseherbalformulas.com. I can oops, I can put it in the chat, but as you know, I can't talk and type. So, but you were correct, Sarah.
Sorry, it takes me a minute to come off of mute. I don't know if I'm picking up road noise or not. So, yeah, definitely keep on your blood pressures though. Check both arms each day, probably, I don't know, what'd you say, like 2 times a day at least, and just keep watching your numbers, because if your bottom number is lower, then that's your kidney function too. Yeah, so we were just in the hospital and we were seeing my aunt, and I could see her catheter bag there, and her urine is clear. And did have a little yellow tint to it, but there was definitely no filtering in there. They were also only taking her blood pressure on one side, and her blood pressure is up right now. So I was kind of curious if they would have taken on their side, but at this point, and they're thinking it's due to swelling, she had a frontal brain bleed, which they weren't able to get stopped, or it stopped on its own. They actually said they could do nothing surgically wise, but her numbers are elevated. But it could be the stress of the hospital too. And I didn't actually get a chance to ask what all they're in, but they've given her 4 CT scans as well already. So she, yeah, so she's got some recovery to go, but we took her 2 things of grapes and watermelon and cantaloupe. So hopefully she was cleared to eat. So hopefully she'll kind of get some of that in her, but she's definitely a meat eater, a dairy drinker, and everything else too. And she is older, but hopefully she pulls through. So, but definitely keep up on your blood pressures and watch all them too, and see how that goes, and just keep an eye on those numbers.
Okay, thank you.
But I will say you're doing fantastic. I mean, that's so much to be doing already. One more thing I want to say too about the exercise. Are you still exercising during the water fast and juice fast, or were you kind of relaxing?
Well, during my juice fast, I did not, excuse me, I did exercise during the juice fast, but that was a year ago. And then I water fasted for 20 days in December. I did not exercise at all. I felt it was really a rough time. I was pretty sick.
Right. Oh yeah. That's
yeah,
a lot coming out, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then I'm planning on doing a week.
A week of water fasting soon?
A week of water fasting on Sunday, and I won't exercise. I haven't actually, since I started the herbals, I have not exercised during this time either, because I don't want to add any acidosis in there.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going to say too, because that can bring up more acidity within your body. So you definitely want to maybe some walking, some definite light stretching, a little bit of yoga, but just be very gentle, kind to your body during this time too. And do a lot of meditation. And I say this all the time, like find some old trees and go hang out with them, be within them, be in nature, get some sunlight. You know, there's so many benefits to that.
That's what I plan on doing.
Good.
Yeah, I'm in Indiana.
Okay. I'm in Ohio, so it's definitely not too warm right now, huh?
My gosh, Sara, you are on a roll.
Thanks. I just left it with a bunch of doctors, so I'm all up on my high now.
I can feel your energy.
Oh, yeah, and that was the other thing I did too. I was doing some healing touch on her, and boy, was I mean, like I was like sweating, like I was channeling so much energy. It was crazy, but I felt her energy. Her energy felt really good. The left side of her face is kind of sure, and so is her left arm, but I feel like I left her with a bunch of energy. So and I gained energy from doing that. So yeah, I feel like I'm all charged up too. But so sorry I was late, but thank you all so much for being there with Toni, and happy born day, Toni. We love you so much and everything you do for us.
Thank you so much. You guys made my day. Sue asked any way to get a kidney to work better so they both work well. It's the same thing. Keep doing what you're doing with the fruits, with maybe a fast once in a while. What Monique mentioned, the castor oil packs, and for anyone who has my the ebook that I put together, there is a whole page about the castor oil packs in there. If you don't have it, send me an email to healthywithfruit@gmail.com and I will send you the book. And you can also do the parsley juice. It was actually Alexandra. We did once a show with her. She's in Hawaii, and she told me about the parsley juice. So that is when I start trying it out. And that is not longer than a week, and start with maybe 2 to 4 ounces, bring it up to 6 to 8 ounces, and just juice the parsley. Now, for me, it only works in a juicer, not in a blender. But I would presume when you add a little water and you put it in a blender and then put it through one of these milk bags, you could get the juice out. But it's best to put it in a juicer and then see how it goes.
I will do that. I have a nice juicer. I have a Green Star Elite. So, I mean, that really will juice those.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's very good. And I hope, Sue, you can try that out too, and just let me know. You know how to find me.
Yep,
So
I will. Thank you.
Yeah. So, well, we are a little past 1 o'clock. If there are no more questions or some things that people want to discuss, let me know. If not, then we are going to call it a day. I actually have visitors coming in at 2 o'clock. So my husband is at work, of all things. He hasn't been at work for the last 12 years on my birthday, but today he is. But it's good. I have you guys here, so I'm happy, and I have friends coming in at 2 o'clock, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't have any cake or anything. It's like, oh well, I have smoothies, so I'm gonna serve them smoothies.
Well, if you have any frozen bananas, you could make some fruit ice
cream. I do. I can make ice cream, but I also make smoothies already, so. Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, I could do the ice cream or nice cream, as we call it. Yeah. Yeah, I do have the frozen bananas because I make sure I always have that because it's such a beautiful snack and healthy. So it's great. So thank you for that suggestion.
Yeah. And thank you all so much. Like I said, thanks again. We love you all so much. And just happy to have everybody here on the call and in the chat.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here. We're all so blessed, you know, to have each other and have all this information thanks to Dr. Morse. I mean, where would I don't even want to think where would I be if it wasn't him for his guidance and his teachings. So thank you, Ingrid. Just see Ingrid popping in. And Ingrid is in the Netherlands too, I believe. So thank you guys. We're gonna call it a day. And I would say till the next time, love you all and appreciate you all for being here. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Love you. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Yep,
Sara and Toni.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for a great show today.